guys, Rob here from D&D Toy Reviews, and today we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Mortal Kombat 10 Joker. So let's jump into it with accessories. So for accessories, we get his cane here, which is kind of like a cane and pickaxe combined. The silver is painted very nicely. Very lovely shade of silver. The skull is molded very nicely with lots of detail, but the paint lines along the silver stripes at the bottom are kind of sloppy. You can see here they don't quite match up to the molding properly. Other than that, it looks okay. The knife, painted in the same silver with a slightly lighter shade of brown for the handle. There's a little bit of molded detail at the bottom of the blade there. Not sure if you can see that. Some molded rivets along here where the handle would be held together. But the knife itself is quite thick and looks almost like a crowbar. It's so thick. And yeah, that's it for accessories. So let's jump into Articulation! Okay, so for articulation, let's just raise that up a bit. Starting at the head, we have what feels like a kind of ratcheted ball joint. I don't know if you can hear it, but it makes a soft clicking noise when you turn the head around. You can look down pretty good, up not so much, turn side to side, a little bit of wiggle waggle. Actually quite a good range of wiggle waggle there. And the face sculpt itself looks pretty great. The paintwork is done quite nicely. It's clean, not a lot of slop anywhere. But the skin tone that they chose for Joker is almost like a ashen gray more than the white we usually see him as. For the torso, shoulders can go all the way around, up to the side all the way, and again they're on a soft ratchet, quite loud one at that. There is no real butterfly movement, and I can't get the jacket open to see if there's a joint in there because they've glued it to the torso here. Bicep cut in the middle of the arm that looks quite ugly. Double jointed elbows that give you all the range, and also you can see they're molded in with some ratcheting there. Swivel and hinge at the wrist, and it's the typical McFarlane ball jointed wrist. For the torso itself, we can rotate slightly at the abdomen, the diaphragm, sorry. It fights you quite badly and doesn't really want to turn too much. There's also a joint down here at the waist that really does not want to move at all. We get practically zero crunching motion. This is the absolute farthest he'll go. And zero crunching to the back. And very little pivot side to side. So for a figure that's coming from a fighting game, the complete lack of upper body articulation is quite disappointing. Hips, the usual McFarlane hips. So they go out that far, kick that far to the front, but you'll start stressing the soft overlay here. Back that far, and no real swivel at all. Double jointed knee gives you quite a full range of motion. And then the usual McFarlane ball hips with very limited movement thanks to the sculpt and a toe joint. So pretty much the typical McFarlane articulation layout with the typical McFarlane articulation layout limitations. And the sculpted detail on Joker is absolutely fantastic. I'm not sure if you can see it on the shirt, but there is tons of sculpted in detail There's a floral kind of pattern all along the shirt. The buttons are sculpted in. The suspenders are sculpted in. Loads of detail. The jacket has a textured sculpt like a real cloth jacket would have. The pants, same thing. Pinstripes all the way in. The surface is sculpted to look like real material. The belt is sculpted to look like a real leather belt with the uneven surfaces of the leather. The buckle, everything is beautifully sculpted, but there's just no detail, paint detail to pick out all this sculpt work, and it just kind of gets lost in this wash of purple and green. And I know that, you know, it's a mass retail toy, there's not much they could have done for that, but it's really just really kind of a shame to see all that detail work and effort put into it, and you just lose it in this base green and base purple with no wash or anything to pick out the details. The inside of the jacket, molded brown. So here he is next to a McFarlane Batman. So even though he's not technically from the multiverse line, he will fit in just fine. Another disappointment right there. So, yeah, that's the review. Hope you like it, and I'll see you next time.